and welcome to Stripped Music Diary. I'm Shannon and I'm here in the Italian Club Cemetery. It's located in Ybor City, which is a subsidiary of Tampa, Florida, if you're not familiar. And Ybor City, there are a lot of immigrants that came and lived here, including a lot of Cuban immigrants as well as a lot of Italian immigrants. And this is ants. And this is where many of the Italian immigrants are buried. And many of the crypts and headstones are in Italian. And I'm going to do my best to tell you a couple stories that I know about this cemetery. I've never been here before, but reading up on it has been really cool. And if you're interested in learning more, I highly suggest watching the walking tour on YouTube. It's a 3-part video, and the video includes a gentleman named Sonny Campisi. He, from what I understand, owns the cemetery or is a partial owner, and many of his family members are buried here, and he does a much better job at explaining the history and whatnot. So I'm sitting here in the shade because it's 1,000,000 degrees again, and it's the second day of fall 2016. But I wanted to talk about this awesome cemetery as well as one of my favorite bands, Cold Cave. I'm in front of the Licata family crypt, and I believe this is the family that all died on the same day. One of the younger male members of the family murdered everybody in the family, including a mother, a sister, but I see at least 4 people who died the same day, and apparently it was attributed to morphina, which translates to English as morphine. And so basically it was attributed to drugs, that he kind of had a mental break and killed his whole family. Something that I noticed, many of the crypts and mausoleums have photos of the person that has passed away. In all of the cemeteries I've been in, this is the first time I'd really seen that. So there are 2 spots right here where we see some vandalism. We have the head missing there, and right behind me as well on these statues here. So over here I see a grave that has caved in, so I'm gonna walk a little closer here. This is one of the older ones here, as well as some of these back here. You can see the dates on them. The people died in the 1920s. These are some of the oldest graves I've seen in any of the Florida cemeteries I've been in, where the people were born in the 1840s. Okay, we're coming up on a little house crypt here. This marble comes from the small village in Italy where this family was from. You could see the color is very unique, and the work is very ornate, very detailed, as well as very extravagant. And I don't remember the exact number, however, it's something in the ballpark of $100 million in today's money. I believe it was something like $8 million. in the 1930s when this was built, which, keep in mind, was during the Great Depression. Here we have an above ground crypt. From what I understand, it was just for the style. It was not to be cost effective, which is also sometimes reasoning behind doing above ground crypts. I am actually now on the other side of the cemetery. I'm not quite sure why, but if you look closely, there's a fence in the background there, and I had to walk around it and come in another entrance. So I'm here. This part of the cemetery seems a bit older. So I'm not sure where it is. I looked, but there are a set of graves here belonging to Sonny Campisi's family, and apparently a young son died. I believe he was around 18, and they buried him in the plot, and when the mother died, she wanted to be buried on top of him, so he's buried 9 feet below ground level, and she's buried 6 feet below ground level. And that's not allowed anymore, to have two bodies buried in the same plot. So I wanted to talk a little bit about one of my favorite bands while I was here today. I haven't mentioned them so much on the channel, but California band Cold Cave has been a staple in my life for a long time. And Cold Cave is not that old of a band. They've been around maybe 2005 or something, but the person responsible for the project, Wes Eishold, he has been making music for a long time, and he joined the hardcore band American Nightmare as their singer, and after American Nightmare disbanded, he formed Some Girls with Justin Pearson from The Locust. And around that era, the Some Girls American Nightmare era, I was kind of young and angry and going through a lot of personal things, so hardcore really helped me a lot. So continuing to follow Wes Eishold's career and watch it evolve has been really interesting. They have a new song out, which is why I wanted to take this time to talk about them and why I love them. It's called The Idea of Love, and it's not that I kind of fell off from listening to Cold Cave. I mean, I have, but it's because I was in a different place. But every time I am kind of going through a rough patch, I'm just really glad that Wes Eishold's music is there, and this is a music diary. I try not to get so sentimental, but the point is, whenever I've really needed something in my life, his music has been there. And it's kind of interesting that a new song has come out when kind of dealing with some things right now as well. So after Some Girls kind of dissolved, Wes formed Exoskeletons, kind of an experimental electronic-y project, and then I think he finally found his footing in doing what he really, really loves. He's always been a fan of Joy Division and The Fall, bands like that. So I think he finally found his footing. So I'm really, really happy that Cold Cave is something that really, really personifies Wes's voice. And it's not really about the sound, because I didn't really love a lot of hardcore bands. There were just a select few, and I found in retrospect that they all had very, very emotional lyrics and very hard-hitting lyrics. So it was more about the message than the sound and the breakdowns. It was more about Wes's writing, and when he released his book of writings and poetry, of course I got it, and my signed copy is one of my most treasured items that I own, my most valuable possessions, if you will. Cold Cave has released several albums, including Cherish the Light Years, which is their most well-known. However, Wes has an independent publishing company called Heartworm Press, so that grants him the ability to kind of release things whenever he wants. So that's why you see Cold Cave releasing a lot of 7-inches. Here we have the newest installment for Heartworm Press, The Idea of Love, and I'll play a little bit of it for you guys here as well. The message and the all-around sound of this song just are so great. This is almost erratic in a way. Essentially, I think it's a little bit different for Cold Cave, and also it's coming to me in a time when it's pretty important for me to have that. So basically, Cold Cave and any Wes Eishold project is like an old friend for me, and that's what I think a really good artist is all about. And whether or not you consistently are into every single thing that they do, I feel like the last few years of my life I kind of got into like punk and stuff like that, exploring other genres, but whenever I need music as a therapy or a music to help me through something, I always turn to music like that. So it's really exciting to have Wes putting stuff out there, and it's really appreciated by people like me. And I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I know it's a little bit longer. I try to sprinkle in some shorter ones when I've posted a really long one, but this cemetery was just too cool to pass up, and the stories behind it. So thanks again for joining me today. I'm at the Italian Club Cemetery in Ybor City. If you like this video, hit the like below and subscribe to the channel. It really helps a lot. And you can follow me on Instagram. I'll put the username right here. And as always, really appreciate you guys watching. Thank you. Bye-bye.